Everyone knows Wii Sports, the cultural phenomenon that became one of the best-selling games of all time, and most of its fans also know about its sequel, Wii Sports Resort, which in my opinion is a lot better than the first. In fact, it has to be the second best sequel to a game that I've ever played, being behind Super Mario Galaxy 2. What do these games have in common? I have no clue, but today I'll be making a non-Mario Kart video for the first time in a while to go over one of my favorite games ever, what it is, why I like it, and even a ranking of the modes at the end. So if you enjoy this video, consider subscribing to the channel as well as leaving a like on the video, and let me know in the comments what your favorite Wii game is. With that said, let's dive into the game that made a third addition to the series impossible to make. As discussed earlier, Wii Sports was clearly a hit, and made the Wii a mission to secure. This made it not so surprising when a sequel came out in 2009. You know, back when sequels actually came out in relevant time to a game. This game was, at least for me, exactly what it needed to be. You had double the amount of sports and about triple as much to do with the same intentions. You could grind to get the best skill level possible, or you could face off against friends or family to crown yourself the Wii Sports champion. Now if you ask me, the original and the sequel complement each other, with only technically two of the original sports making the cut for Resort, but if you gave me the choice between the two games, I gotta go with Wii Sports Resort. The most important part of the game has to be the setting. Wii Sports Resort houses one of the best video game locations to ever exist with Woohoo Island. You have the iconic volcano, of course, along with a bridge and plenty more. For the actual modes, you have some originals and some interesting ideas combined with other modes that fit the vacation island theme. These include Swordplay, Wakeboarding, Frisbee, Archery, basketball, table tennis, golf, bowling, power cruising, canoeing, cycling, and air sports. Now personally, I divide these mini games up by the three rows. You have the new and fun stuff, the popular sports, and air sports with a side of chips. Let me know in the comments if you actually enjoyed these modes, but I personally am not turning on this game just to virtually canoe. The first game mode that I'm going to review is Swordplay for obvious reasons. Anyways, in typical Wii series fashion, the game mode is pretty simple, but there are three different modes to choose from. The first is a standard duel, where you aim to knock your opponent off the edge and trigger a very dramatic falling cutscene. You swing the remote to attack, or hold B to block and adjust the position of the Wii remote accordingly. If a hit is successfully blocked, then the guard of the attacker is lowered. There are 3 rounds, and if there is a tie, then the battlefield shrinks to make things interesting. You can never go wrong with this one. Following that is Speed Slice, where everyone's favorite boxing instructor Matt will throw a bunch of random stuff into the air for you to slice. The angle and timing required will vary each time, so it's a matter of reaction time, decision making, and accuracy. Sometimes Matt will even troll you by tossing them to the moon, so you have to wait in suspense. Anyways, first to win 10 rounds will come out victorious. This brings us to the final mode, which is Showdown, one of the best single player modes in the game. The game will line you up to face a bunch of Miis, and you must defeat them all without losing all 3 lives. The first class is the Green Vests, which are one-hit KOs, and they don't block, which means you can satisfyingly combo a dozen at once in the early levels. The next classes just get more difficult, with each getting more advanced and requiring more hits to defeat. If you run out of lives, the Miis just crowd around you and feels taunting, which is kind of funny honestly. Anyway, Swordplay had the most to get through, so I apologize for such a long section. Now we get to one of the more quick sections, that being Wakeboarding. This game is such a good idea since it fits perfectly with the island theming. You tilt the Wii remote in the horizontal direction you seek to go in, and then shake to perform a trick, similar to a certain Wii game. Anyways, the more consecutive tricks that you do increase your score exponentially, but are also harder to stick the landing for. The harder difficulties feature buoys that are placed in inconvenient places and will break the line if you fail to avoid them. Since I have a boating license, I know that left buoys are green and right buoys red, but does this stop me from cutting off at every buoy? No. The third sport in the game is Frisbee, which is a fan favorite for sure. You have the choice of playing fetch with a dog, or playing disc golf, which I really appreciate them including. They brought back the ability to choose which hand you want among some new features. I personally choose manual because it makes me feel better thinking that I don't automatically throw each match. Anyways, for Frisbee dog, you have a target and you want to throw it there for the dog to catch. There are 3 zones to the target, and the closer the disc to the bullseye, the more points it rewards. In the later rounds, some balloons will appear as bonus points if you can put enough spin on the disc. I could not, but this mode is really enjoyable. For disc golf, it's exactly what it sounds like. You play golf with a Frisbee. You have the driving disc, the putter, and the one in the middle. Wind is unsurprisingly a major factor, and instead of a hole, it's a zone for you to target. Next is Archery, which is a decent mode. You have a large variety of difficulty and conditions to face, as well as different atmospheres to shoot in. The target can move and have things blocking it, as well as wind, different angles, and depth to really mess with you. After that, we have a new sport that was certainly a hit, basketball. For this one, you have the 3-point contest or a 3v3 pickup game. For the 3-point contest, you obviously want to make the most 3-pointers possible, but also have good time management to give yourself the best chance. For the 3v3 game, they did a great job. Each teammate can be passed to with a different button, and shaking the controller can be used to dribble towards the basket. If you want to shoot it, you can press B to trigger the shooting window, which is a timed action that you want to avoid getting blocked, but also making the shot at the same time. On defense, you can shake the remote to steal the ball, but if you miss, you get put on SportsCenter's top 10. If you get rid of the defender and gain access to the rim, you can press shoot to slam dunk it, which is so satisfying. Then we have table tennis, which is technically from Wii Play, but it's a heck of a lot different here. The match option is a 1-to-6 scenario where you, similar to tennis from the original, aim the Wii remote to create angles to score. The rally mode is like the Wii Play version where you want to keep returning the ball and it gets faster each time. There's some cans that you can aim for to get bonus points as well. Following table tennis is golf, which I don't know if I can make this interesting. I mean, everyone and their grandma knows what the heck golf is and what is going on here. Obviously, the game is a classic and a great time for sure, but it's golf, so I'll end this section rather quickly. I will say that they brought back all the original courses as well as adding in some new ones. Up next, we have the classic everyone knows and loves, bowling. Since bowling is such a big part of the original, it making the cut to the sequel drives this game's value through the roof. You have regular bowling of course, but now you have a 100-pin mode as well. Instead of having to work up from an increasing amount of pins, you can just play the entire game with 100, which I think is so much better. And we all know that little Easter egg as well. I had to re-record the footage for the entire video twice because of notable problems, as you can see, but I made sure to save this clip from pulling off the automatic strike in the first game. Along with this, you have spin control, which has changed as well. Instead of having lives and limited pins, you have a full rack and 2 attempts for 10 lanes. Another change that I can agree with. This brings us to the bottom row, which as I've stated before, features 3 minigames that I do not care much for. The first is power cruising. This feels way too similar to wakeboarding and is a lot worse in my opinion. You just kinda drive through rings, hold the controllers weirdly, and go off some waves. You do get a choice of maps, which is pretty refreshing though. After that, we have canoeing. Yeah, it's canoeing. I don't really know what the goal is here, maybe getting to the finish in the shortest time I guess, but no matter what I just seem to win every time despite how good or bad I do. The expert mode doesn't change much either, with it being also pretty boring and easy. Stepping it up slightly is cycling, which at least has something to it. You compete in a big marathon style race where you aim to climb the ranks before the finish line. Your Mii has a system of hearts which you will lose if you pedal too fast for too long. If you let it get to 0, then you stop and regenerate. The goal is to draft behind other bikers and find a rhythm of going as fast as possible and staying on course without losing hearts. After cycling is one of the best, air sports. The 3 modes it contains are skydiving, island flyover, and dogfight. Skydiving is the introduction to the game, with the goal being to link up with other skydiving Miis for a picture. The more Miis you interact with, the higher your score. When everything is said and done, you parachute onto the island and enjoy the rest of the game. A pretty good introduction. But the other air sport is even more incredible, and that is the island flyover. With this, you are free to do whatever you want. You can fly over your favorite place on the island, chill in the water, pop balloons everywhere, crash 15,000 times for the fun of it, or do the main task at hand and find all of the tourist destinations on the island. This was something I loved to do and I almost have every single one. I am just missing a spot and can't for the life of me figure out the final checkpoint. Truly sad. Anyways, now that we have gone through the modes, let's rank them and then discuss my final thoughts. Number 12, Canoeing. I mean, this is such a filler game. Not only is the controlling weird, but the purpose of the game as well. There doesn't seem like there's something to work towards, and it's insanely boring. I might as well just sleep in the canoe and enjoy the vibes. Number 11, Power Cruising. I really don't find any enjoyment in this. Wakeboarding pretty much already had this idea, and the waves feel unsatisfying, plus the overall controlling of the game is highly questionable. Number 10, Cycling. This one has a purpose, and getting to see the whole island along with Mario Kart tracks before there were Mario Kart tracks is really cool, but it isn't as fulfilling as the other modes. Number 9, Wakeboarding. Now we get into the more fun and entertaining modes. I personally find wakeboarding in this game to get pretty old after a while. It can be fun to combo, but when you lose it, things get really slow. Number 8. Table Tennis. They combined Wii Play Table Tennis and Wii Sports Tennis to get this game right here. It's pretty good and has everything you could want. Number 7. Archery. I will say that I have an inconsistent opinion about this one, so it goes pretty much in the middle. I love the variety of shots you take, plus the satisfying feeling of getting a 10. The target goes from right in your face to moving across the inside of a volcano, which is pretty neat. Number 6. Golf. You could never go wrong with golf, but it just lacks the variety that the other games have. Sure, you have a boatload of courses to choose from, but some extra modes would have placed it much higher. Number 5. Basketball. As much as I love basketball in real life and this game being such a vibe, it can't go much higher. It's hard to enjoy something when you just really suck at it, and I unfortunately have a skill issue in this area. I find it difficult to get the form right and therefore cannot score on offense. I do think they did a great job overall though. Number 4. Swordplay. The fact that they created 3 completely different modes for such a unique game is pretty impressive. The variety certainly drives it up the list. Number 3. Frisbee. This is such a fun game. Whether it's playing with this adorable dog trying to perfect your form, or playing disc golf and crafting the perfect angle, I always have a good time here. Number 2. Air Sports. The amount of things to do here is something I don't think I've ever seen in a video game. You can go wherever you desire, do whatever pleases you, all with collectibles and side missions as well is incredible. It so deserves to be number 1, but I think number 1 is unstoppable if I'm being honest. Number 1. Bowling. They took the best game from Wii Sports and made it even better. The classic, always replayable, unanimous go-to, will never be defeated, and is a reason why people play these decade-old games today. So at the end of the day, Wii Sports Resort didn't completely copy-paste its predecessor, but it was its own cultural phenomenon that took exactly what was necessary from Wii Sports and added so much more onto it. You have pro levels to achieve, collectibles to earn, tasks to complete, and high scores to chase after. The same, if not better vibes, energy, and most importantly, fun. Thanks for watching this video and listening to me yap about one of my favorite games of all time, and I will see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.